Ta-da. Hello and welcome everyone to Women Speakers Association's WSA TV live here. I'm in San Diego. I'm Laura Rubenstein, your host and producer of WSA TV, and I'm super excited about today's show. Why? Because we have two amazing experts here who are ready and chomping at the bit to talk about creating your unlimited personal growth. And they are super powerhouses. So I want to take my screen off screen share and show you these beautiful women and have them introduce themselves. So let's go say hi to Michelle. Hey, Michelle.
Hi, Laura. Thanks for having me today. I am coming at you from the sunny Yukon Territory in Northern Canada. I am a spiritual mentor and transformation expert. You can find me online at rocksolidlove.ca.
Wonderful. Great to have you here. And next we have Peggy. Hi, Peggy.
Hi, Laura. It's great to be with both you and Michelle. I am coming to you from Fountain Hills, Arizona, right outside of Phoenix. And I am a trauma healing mentor and therapist and speaker. And you can find me at courageousjourneys.com.
Wonderful. Okay, both of you are blowing me away from what I've known and what we've talked about before we went live. So, personal growth, it's a really powerful way to excel in life, right? But where do we start, and what advice do you have for our viewers to start on their path of personal growth? What's important, Michelle?
I think one of the most important things is the recognition that there's a difference between being confident in what you do and confident in who you are. It allows you to manage your energy rather than react to the energy around you. And a really simple way to release stress and overwhelm and that pent up, especially before you get on a stage to speak, is to turn your focus to the breath and consciously inhale deeply that loving, supportive air that is constantly around you, and to consciously release on the exhale all that stuff that feels like it's bogging you down. And even in 3 breaths, you will notice a relaxation in your body and in your mind.
Wow. I just did that right now, by the way, and I already feel more centered, more grounded. And you probably, if you go back and watch the video, I'm like, ooh, I'm here. I'm way more present. So thank you for that gift, Michelle. That's awesome. And that takes like what, 30 seconds to do?
Yeah, if that. And you can do it anytime, anywhere. In your office, nobody even has to know what you're doing.
Who would have thought how powerful can the breath be, in time of need? So I want to go to Peggy and ask you, what advice do you have for people to help them support them on their journey of personal growth?
One of the big things is that, so many people watching this have probably been on a long journey of personal growth and doing all different kinds of things to get them where they want to be. And recognizing that we are all wounded. One of the things I say over and over again is you cannot heal what you deny is wounded. And what I mean by that is that we are all wounded in some form or another. While I work predominantly with trauma, the truth is that there's so many ways that we're wounded, and being able to recognize where those points are in our lives, those experiences that left a mark, allows us to really do the work of healing. Because so often people talk about doing different techniques or putting the past behind you or finding the gratitude in something difficult. And while all of those things can be helpful, you're not actually doing the work of healing. In fact, in many aspects, you tend to bypass it. So when I say denial, that's actually a coping mechanism. And so being able to go back and look at that is a really important piece, because we're all wounded, and taking a look at what is it that maybe still needs some healing is really important. And one way that you can kind of recognize if there's something pretty significant is asking yourself, is there something that maybe you wouldn't want somebody to know? And that can bring up a lot. But that's a really important question. And it doesn't have to be something really huge or traumatic. Sometimes it can be things that you just don't feel very good about, or things that happened, or mistakes that you've made. And there's probably something to go back and look at. And maybe it's just something that takes 30 minutes for you to go back and honor. But that's where a good place for us to start.
Mm. Okay, today's show is pretty deep. We don't do it light here at WSA TV, right? Uh,
Yeah.
the whole thing that you just said, and Michelle, what you said in terms of, really honoring yourself. Both of you talked about honoring yourself, really, first and foremost. And one is to honor yourself through breathing. The other is to honor yourself by letting go of this stigma around places we're wounded, right? And really shine a light there. So thank you for honoring us and helping us to honor ourselves. I want to learn a little bit more about each of you and tell us what you're passionate about, what you do for people, and who you work with. So, Michelle, let's go over to you.
I work with healers and change makers, really those people that want to see the world in a better place, that want to be the ones to help deliver that. That is my passion and my mission. And I work with them to gain the confidence in their gifts. Because very much, I couldn't agree with Peggy more, very much as she said, we are all wounded. And it's about the stories that we tell ourselves and perceive as true. And when you can go back and heal those wounds, you can alter your reality and have the confidence to step out and make the difference that is in your passion and in your heart.
It's a beautiful thing to do that for people. I want to give a shout out to those of you who are watching right now, and thank you for being here in your passion. And Michelle, thank you for, working with people who can heal other people, right? So really bringing healing to more people, to bring out more passions, to bring more positive into the world. So tell us about how you do that. Do you have a story about how you help somebody?
Well, it started with my own healing story, which I'd love to talk to Peggy more about at another date. But I have multiple clients, lots of whom have come questioning their abilities and questioning their gifts. And through 3 months of working together, I have one gentleman in particular that has his own business as a psychic empath and a life coach in 3 months. But when we combine the mindset and the energy healing work is when we get the exponential results.
And how did that go?
It's amazing. He is very successful and is there to help empower other people. It's the core of what fuels me and the work I do is spreading those ripples. And when you have the confidence in yourself and your gifts, then you can't help but radiate that outwards through every interaction you have, personally and professionally.
And you alluded to this briefly, that you have a story to tell about yourself where maybe you weren't so confident at some time. Is that correct?
Oh, that's so very correct. I come from a childhood with abuse and addictions. And I was also a teenage mom, so I denied my wounding and I buried it so deep, I didn't even realize it was still there. And
Yes.
it was when my kids were moving out that was my epitome of realization that I didn't actually know who I was. I had done everything for them. And what did it mean to be me when they were gone? So that was the beginning of my journey, was rediscovering my own gifts and maximizing them to the point that now I help other people discover theirs.
It's beautiful. We all need mentors, and we don't need them, but it certainly makes the journey a lot easier, a lot more assured. And so, Peggy, I want to hear more about the journeys you take people on. Who do you work with, and what do you do with them?
Well, first, can I just say that Michelle and I have a lot in common? A whole lot in common. I was also a teenage mom. Um, my over the time that I've been a therapist, it's really kind of shifted a little bit, especially over these last couple of years. I started my practice working predominantly with survivors of abuse. That's always been my area of expertise, and my desire to work with those people. And in the beginning and for many years, a lot of the people that would come to me were really struggling, like really in a bad place, in a really unhealthy relationship, feeling suicidal, just really, really aware that they were struggling. And over the last couple of years, when I transitioned to doing the mentoring online, I've noticed that I'm having a lot more women who don't necessarily identify themselves first as survivors. Like that's not the thing that stands out to them, or that they're really struggling emotionally. From the outside, they look like everything's really great. People would look at them and think, wow, they're so together. Um, but inside, they're struggling, either not letting people see below the mask or behind the mask, striving so hard for perfection that they're burning themselves out, and finding ways to cope with it, to relax at the end of the day that are not particularly healthy. And so that's been kind of a transition. So I'm working a lot now with women who still recognize that there's something there to heal, but you wouldn't necessarily know it by looking at them. And I came into this work because I am a survivor. And throughout my childhood and very early adult years, I didn't know that I was affected. I had no idea that everything that I was struggling with, and I struggled with a lot, that any of it was related to abuse. Because at that time, nobody really talked about it. People weren't really talking about things. And I went to a support group, not because I was trying to heal from abuse, because nobody talked about healing either. I went there to be a better person. And I started a support group. And that first night when I left there, I remember thinking to myself, I think I actually said it out loud on the way to my car, why isn't anybody talking about this? If people would just talk about the struggles, we wouldn't struggle nearly as much. And I didn't know it until about a year ago, actually, that was when the seed was planted for the work that I do now. And over the past couple of years, it's been growing within me to really start getting this message out there. Not necessarily just working with people one-on-one, but really sharing this message about the fact that we're all wounded and what that looks like in our lives, because it doesn't always look like somebody who's struggling with addiction or suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a beautiful message, and what two complementary approaches here. That I love that both of you are doing exactly what you're saying, Peggy, is talking about it. And that's what we do here at Women Speakers Association. We talk about stuff. Like I said earlier, we go deep, right? And we empower and inspire and provide the tools and resources for women to get their message out into the world. So we don't have to have as much pain stuffed inside, and we can use those techniques, Michelle, like you talked about, of breathing, and it's no longer a secret. People are using these every day. Wouldn't that be great? So, here at Women Speakers Association, we love giving you this visibility, and we want to invite any of you who would like to join us. Go to joinwsa.com, and you can join at the associate level for free right now, or you can upgrade like both Peggy and Michelle have done to the premier level, and where we actually bring that message out in the world. So I'd like to hear from each of you, what is the value you're receiving from Women Speakers Association, or what results have you gotten? Michelle, why don't you share with us?
I love Women Speakers Association for the simplicity, for the profile that is already built for you, for the connections that you make with other people. It can be a lot of work to try and create all the resources on your own. And Women Speakers Association makes it so much easier.
It really does. You nailed it on the head. Thank you. And Peggy, how about you? What value are you receiving from Women Speakers Association?
Can I say what she said? Ditto that. One of the things that I'm really enjoying, I'm kind of a new member, but one of the things that I'm really enjoying is the community. I'm relatively new to speaking. I've done podcasts and a couple of speaking things, but I don't really know that much about this industry. And so I'm able to learn a lot that I would have to spend hours and still not get all the information that I need. And having the support of this community is also something that is incredibly beneficial. And I'm really looking forward to diving even deeper into.
Wonderful. Thank you both for stepping in and being fully active members here at Women Speakers Association. It's a gift that you've given us today here on WSA TV, the advice, the wisdom. I invite all of you to be in touch with Peggy and Michelle. If you're a member, connect with them in the Premier Members group. If you're not, their emails, they'll be linked to Facebook here. You'll be linked with them on their websites. They'll put comments in there. So please feel free to stay in touch. And if you have questions, we have just about 30 seconds left, but you're welcome to type them in into the comments, or we'll come back here and look at them and answer them for you. So thank you for watching with us today. We'll be back with you next week for another edition of WSA TV featuring wisdom and insight from our members. Bye for now.